G'day, Property Club members. This is Peter from the Property Club, and today I'm having a look at homes or investment property in inner city Greater Melbourne region under $1 million. So I wanted to have a look and I wanted to see, can you still find a house in Melbourne with parking under $1 million? Now it looks like you still can. Now initially, and ignore this one, I have pulled up a couple of examples for you. So this one, the range for the auction should be 750 to 825, two bedroom, one bathroom and one car park on a corner allotment. Another interesting one is this one in Clifton Hill in Melbourne, Greater City, and this one's 211, 850 to 920. Beautiful home, this one actually. Flick through. So yeah, it's interesting to see because I recently went to Melbourne and knowing the Sydney market very well, I'm not totally familiar with the Melbourne market. I do know it. I have an understanding of it, but I've never personally bought in Melbourne because I've never lived in Melbourne for an extended period of time. I'm actually born in Melbourne, so it does interest me somewhat. And the property that I found that interests me the most is this one, is 216 Pin Oak Crescent in Flemington, which is 820,000 to 900 is the auction range. Obviously that's the range and it can actually go above that range, but on auction day. But if it goes for something around about the 850 to 880 mark, I'd say that this is a really good investment. So you can see here, Pin Oak, Flemington, beautiful home. And you get a good rental return on this one, and I think it would have a very strong capital growth moving forward in the coming years. Comparatively speaking, a similar property in a similar location in Sydney, I believe would cost at least double the amount. Nowadays I have seen properties in Sydney, particularly in the northern and eastern suburbs, North Shore in particular, and for something like this that you get in Flemington from $800,000 to $900,000, in Sydney, well and truly you would really have to pay in excess of $2 million. Okay, so today we're going to use this Flemington property as the case study. So I'm going to do a quick calculation for you guys and let you know what the gross return on investment would be for this one. So let's just do a quick calculation. Let's assume that you got a really good price on this one. You could buy something like this for $800,000. Okay, now if you can get something like this for around about $800,000, two bedroom, one bathroom and one car space, it's not too bad. Okay, having a look at some comparisons for rent. Now I'm comparing the rentals because I want to know what the yield is going to be on this particular property, and we want to calculate that. So this one is a two bedroom, one bathroom, asking $700 per week. This one's a bit of a bargain at $560 per week. So I'm going to go ahead and say conservatively, I believe you can rent this particular property for around about $600 per week. If you bought this property for $800,000, so let's say $800,000, okay? So I'm just going to do a quick calculation. 800,000 minus a 20% deposit, because for a loan you're going to need a 20% deposit, okay? Which means your loan would be approximately $640,000, okay? So we're going to use that figure, $640,000. So the loan amount being $640 and the rental being $600 per week works out to be, I'm doing a quick calculation again, $31,200 per annum. So $31,200 per annum. Yep, so just done the calculation, and when I divide the 31,200 by the 640, based on the loan amount, we're not using the purchase price here. It would be less if we're using the purchase price, obviously, but we're using the loan amount, and based on the loan amount, you're looking at around about 4.8% gross rental return. Now, obviously, you do have to account for certain things. You need to account for things like, property maintenance bills and maybe if you don't have the proper water saving facility in the house, you'll actually have to pay the water bill as well. So there are some costs, also council rates, as well as council rates. If you're holding a substantial amount of property, you will have land tax as well. So when you add all of that up and you look at the fees and you say, okay, all of the costs are going to cost me roughly around about, let's say, another 1%. Okay, 1 to 1.5%. But let's just say in this instance it's 1%. In this instance, with the return being 4.8% gross, 4.8% gross minus 1% means you're going to get 3.8% net. Okay? Now, 3.8% net isn't that bad. And the reason it's not that bad is because nowadays you can actually get loans that are around about the 3 percentile. So let's have a quick look at that. Now, as a consumer, you won't be able to see this because actually Mortgage Easy is a wholesale lender, which means they only lend money to brokerage or smaller firms who then on-lend the money to individual consumers. So I've just pulled this off. I've actually just got it from the Mortgage Easy portal here, as you can see. So I've just pulled this up and I'm just going to show you this, so people know, okay? You need to know. Okay, so at the end of the day, if we have a look at this and we said, okay, this property is 3.8%, bang, straight away I can see there's a product from Mortgage Easy at the moment, the Easy Economizer Variable 100% offset, which is bang on 3.8%. It's 3.79%. Yes, it does have a comparison rate that is a bit higher. It needs to account for certain transactional fees and this sort of thing. Obviously, it does have a professional pack fee, which is $395 per annum. So look, with that, the Easy Economizer, not taking into account the comparison rate, you're going to be a little bit out of pocket on the fees, the $395 per annum and any transactional fees and this sort of thing. But on a P&I easy investment loan, you're looking at 3.79%, which isn't bad because that is actually that rental income. If you can get that $600, that 3.8%, that's actually going to cover your loan because we've already accounted for the costs. And in this instance, it's the perfect instance because the rent is covering the loan. And that's really what you want. I'd love to show you guys an example in inner city Melbourne whereby we're getting cash flow positive, but trying to find such an example is really, really hard in the inner city. Now, in the inner city, which is going to have obviously more growth, being closer to the CBD and people wanting to travel, less distance to work, it's going to have better growth. I believe it's all about location, location, location. Now, when you go outside the city, there are instances where you can find cash flow positive property. That's more so in the suburbs. Now, in this instance, what I can say, this has a really good balance of rental return for Melbourne right now, as well as capital growth. This is a great opportunity. Obviously, the question is, can you get it for 800? Obviously, a lot of agents, they're trying to suck people in, and what they'll do is they'll say, yeah, it's going to sell for 800 and it sells for $1 million or 1.1. But every now and again, you can pick up a bargain. It's hard work. You do have to go out there on the weekends. You have to bid a lot, and you have to be used to rejection. But getting used to that, mate, you might make offers on 20, 30, 40 plus properties, but all you need to do is get one or two away, and it's happy days. So yeah, you might have seen the video on mortgage leverage and how to use that. If not, I'm just going to show you that really, really quickly. Where is it? Here we go. Okay, this is the one here. It's entitled
Oi,
Making making maximum profit using mortgage finance. So look, this is a really good video. If you have a look at this, please do watch this. This explains the fact that when you're using leverage and you're using a leverage of, like, for example, 1 to 10, if you invest $100,000 and the property moves 10%, your return on investment is not 10%, it's actually 100%. So this could be a bit of an opportunity for you, especially comparing the prices in Sydney. So yeah, guys, this has been Peter from the Property Club. Thanks for watching, and please do like, share, and/or subscribe.